Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Zachary Sabala, otherwise known as YouTuber Good Times For All, and Slick James Johnson. Good to have you both.
Good morning, good morning.
Howdy, all. Thanks for having me, Nathan.
Absolutely.
Howdy.
Oh, we've also got Ranty Flat Earth, just in at the last second. How you doing, Ranty?
Doing good, doing good.
Excellent. Right, let's do a bit of housekeeping. Hey, Sleeping Warrior, long time no see. No sound.
Hello.
Hello, very good to have you. How you doing?
Good. How's everybody?
Very well, no complaints at all. Let's do a bit of housekeeping. Any signs of curvature?
No.
Nothing that I've experienced.
Nor here.
Any sign of curvature? No.
Axial rotation.
Yes, sunsets, Nathan. Sunsets.
What about them?
They prove axial rotation, moron. Come on.
How do they prove axial rotation?
Because it goes down behind the horizon.
Say that again.
Because it goes down behind the horizon.
Oh, right. The not actual position of the sun.
Yeah, it's definitely the rotation of the Earth, Nathan, and we can prove it.
Trying to lead you into formulating it into the logical fallacy known as affirming the consequent. So go on, tell me how the sun going or claiming to go below the horizon is a proof that the Earth spins endlessly.
Well, what else would it be, Nathan?
Are you all right?
Said too many smarties. Yeah,
everyone, the ballers still hang on to the. I was listening to.
Hey, Chocolate. Hey, Arwin.
No. I was listening to a conversation. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, and they were talking about sunrise and sunset, and I was like, I can't believe it must be the case that there's ballers that are fresh to the discussion that weren't here 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago, because it seems to be people that are either recycling the old arguments or they're just fresh to it and they don't realize that, like, you can't argue sunrise and sunset for the Earth rotation unless you can prove that the Earth's rotating. And it's just frustrating listening to how stupid some people are, and it's like, I don't know how best to combat these. There's so many of them, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's basically, if it's formulated into a quote-unquote globe proof, then it's, if the Earth is a rotating sphere, we will observe sun going below the horizon at sunset. We observe the sun going below the horizon at sunset. Therefore, the Earth is a rotating sphere. Shout out to Mind Warped, is it, for the super chat? Thank you very much indeed. How do you get onto the panel? Oh, shit. Yeah, I've not shared the link. Refresh the page in about 2 minutes. That's what you need to do. My bad. So, yeah, it's a formal logical fallacy. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. And in this instance, the P is technically R, because they're assuming that the Earth is a rotating sphere. Then they tell you of their observation of the sun going down. Then they affirm the consequent and say that that proves the Earth is the assumption they've made. So that's their proof for a rotating sphere when using the sun. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
No.
Can't be done.
Nope.
I'm waiting for Fight the Flat Earth to address that one. He reckons he measured it when he was about 14.
Measured the sun? Are you having me on?
Yeah, that's right. He measured the distance to the sun. He did a Venus transit apparently when he was about 40. I don't know what age he was, but he was clearly a young adult, if not an old teenager. Because it was done in 2004 for the last transit. And, well, I don't know how old you were in 2004, but I was 24. And I know he's a few years younger than me. So he must be, what, 18, 19, maybe 20? I don't know how old he is. Shut up!
I don't see an issue. I don't see any issue with him doing it at 15 for the sake of argument, if that was his age. But my issue wouldn't be that he's measured a transit of a light or the occulting of the sun by a different light in the sky known as Venus. My issue would be that you'd require the Huygens presupposition of Venus being the exact same size as Earth when using...
And Earth is a sphere as well. That's the other one. But we don't... You have to get him to beg the question. You have to get him to open up and have the conversation. And for him to do that, he needs to have the data. And he hasn't got the data because he measured it at some point when he can't remember where he was when he did it, how he did it. He just knows that he did it. But if he had that information, you could then open him up and get him to the point where he has to address the maths, and can't get him to that point yet.
Hey, my mind, good to have you.
Hi, mate. You do realise the flat Earth is full of shit because I listened to a hangout of his recently.
Wow, my warped mind. You've got to be more vigilant with your mic, my friend. Hello, my warped mind. You've got to be more vigilant with your mic.
Right, I've muted him while he's making a load of racket.
Right, well, I listened to Fight the Flat Earth, and he said that he has never done an experiment before.
He's taking his microphone out of the box. That's how it sounded.
Yeah, he's getting his mic out and setting it up.
First he plugs in, then he takes it out of the box.
For the third time, did you want to say what you're saying there? Because that's the second time you've been interrupted.
Indeed. Go ahead, Ranty. Hopefully no interruptions third time around.
Okay, well, Sleeping Warrior, I'm just going to try and find the timestamp for this. So maybe you want to play this. But if you've got a citation of him saying that he's actually measured the sun, I have a citation of him very recently, within the past week, stating that he's never, ever, ever done any kind of experiment to do with the shape of the Earth.
Oh, well, that's not an experiment, so maybe he's being... I doubt it, but maybe he's actually... Now, what am I even saying? He's not concerned whether he uses the right terminology for experiment. What am I even saying?
He's married to Xbox, that's all he is.
On the pre-show, we were discussing Rory, and you came up in conversation, actually, Ranty. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Hey, Chris, can you hear us? No sound, my friend. Hello?
You hear me? Hello?
Yeah, there we go. Good to have you.
Okay, so I came up in discussions, yeah?
Oh, right, you back onto that straight away. Yes, of course, Ranty. We were talking about, shout out to the, is it Megawerty? Theo Megawerty? I hope I've said your name right. My bad. Thank you very much for the super chat. Link to the discussion isn't working. Right, you just need to... Sorry, Ranty, we will get to talking about you, I promise. You just need to refresh your page, or you did until Flat and Earth got here, because now the panel's full.
Interruption number 4. Hello.
Well, no, we've gone past that. It was talking about the fact that Fight the Flat Earth had recently claimed he'd never done an experiment in terms of measuring the shape of the Earth. So whether or not he's being technically and literally accurate in terms of his terminology, because it wouldn't be an experiment, or he's confused and forgot that he said that he'd measured the distance to the sun, or he's just a lying piece of shit.
That's more like it, Nathan.
So, okay, yeah, we were talking about Rory, though. So, Zach joined the panel and was saying, you know, congratulations on your new baby, which is wonderful. Thank you very much, Zach. But then we got on to talking about perspective, and we were just having a good laugh, really. So, was that link for me, my warped mind? You're on mute, just so you know. You need to come off mute. On now. Okay, so yeah, we were talking about perspective and the fact that, what, has it been 2 years since we ripped apart the fact that it doesn't include perspective, and then we listed off the people who disclaimed that it doesn't need perspective, like Wiggles and the Rumpus, who make it very clear that it doesn't perform viewing functionality. And I was saying that, well, doesn't the name of the calculator give it away? It's a geometric calculator. So that in itself should have given the game away and not led him down the path of utter stupidity. It just seems so crazy.
Yeah, did he get a chance to acknowledge the video that I put out recently?
I don't actually watch him, and I don't.
No, Zach.
No, Zach's been offline.
I did.
There, Zach.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch it, but I saw the gist of it. Kind of. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I loved how you pointed out how they changed their calculators 4 days after he actually put out this challenge. That's the one I kind of caught a little bit of.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so yeah, that link I put up was what I was talking to Flat and Earth about yesterday. We were talking about going to Trig and doing the observation. And Nathan, how you said when you go out, you always get bad weather. Well, mate, today's weather was really, really bad. I got out there, but I did make an observation. So I've just made the video up. I've made the new channel, and even though I've changed my name, it's still me, My Warped Mind. I've just changed it to Mind Warped. But yeah, check out the video and have a look, guys. It's pretty interesting.
Cool.
Flat Earth obstruction number 001, right?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay. Yeah, it's playing now.
Tell me what you think of my new intro.
Nice graphics.
Yeah, very nice. I'm going to make it big, actually. That's very cool.
Today.
I'll leave it running in the background, so, feel free to...
Yeah.
You can't see it on the watch page of your Hangout, but the audience can.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah, so
now.
basically, is it playing the audio as well, or? Okay, so basically this observation is just an island of Earth. So the hill that you're seeing with the lighthouse on it, that hill is called Wodgenup Hill, and that's, I think from memory, 45 meters above sea level. And the lighthouse. Sorry.
We're not seeing anything. Are you supposed to be screen
sharing?
sharing?
It's going out to the audience, not the Hangout, just so the quality's better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the lighthouse itself is 39 meters. So if you have a look there, you can actually see the full lighthouse, which is 39 meters, and it's roughly still the same height, but following down from that ground level all the way down. So you're pretty much seeing the whole island, and that's from 27 kilometers away, which is, I think it's just over 17 miles, which should give us roughly 24 meters of curvature. So I should really only just be seeing the top half of the hill, but we're not. We're seeing pretty much the whole island.
So just a shade under 17 miles to this lighthouse.
Yeah, 17.16, I think it was.
What's the observer height?
It would be probably about 3 meters.
That's pretty cool. I mean, you can see how choppy it was that day.
Oh man, the clarity was crap. The weather was terrible. If that was a clear day, man, I'd see the whole thing. It was really bad. Like you can see all the moisture in the air there. It's like looking through steam. Basically, it was shocking. It cleared up just enough for me to actually take this footage.
Can you tell me exactly where this was, the name of that lighthouse? Because I'm actually researching something different at the minute, but it all ties in.
It's called Wodgenup Hill Lighthouse. It's on the video.
How do you spell that, please?
So it's an Aboriginal word. I think it's Wadjinup. Wodgenup.
Yeah, I've got it.
So I'm pretty sure it's 45 meters above sea level. Then the lighthouse is on top of that, which is 39 meters.
Okay, so on the video now, we're just into you showing Google Earth, just so you know where you are on your own video. Perth, you're circling. Now the island.
Yep.
Oh, so this is the guy that was here. There was a guy here yesterday.
Yeah, same guy.
The same thing.
Yeah, it's the one that you gave all the advice to, Ranty.
This is me.
Ah, right.
Me,
Sorry.
but I changed my logo and I changed my name. So
And you said you were going to go and do this, didn't you? And this is when you went yesterday after work.
Yeah, well, I went today. It's nighttime here, so I did it probably about 3 hours ago. Quickly came home and rendered it. And
I've got to be honest, I wouldn't worry about the conditions now that I've seen what you've achieved, because you can see it. So
yeah,
doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. That's fantastic. In other words, great job.
I mean, considering the conditions, I mean, like I said, we all said that don't expect great conditions, but the fact that you was able to see it, brilliant. Imagine what you're going to see on a good day.
Oh man, on a good day you can see it plain as day.
What's interesting is that this is the same place, this is the same lighthouse that Wolfie 6020 is filming, and he's filming it from essentially due west of that location. Sorry, due east of that location of the lighthouse, and it's much nearer. But he gets it with obstruction.
He'd be coming from Fremantle, I'd say. If he's due east, it would be Fremantle. So he'd be
Mossam Bay, around that area, Rock Bay, Mossam Bay.
Mossam Bay or Rockingham, probably.
So you're seeing it from far further away. So it must be something to do in that, you know, what he's looking across on that. The topography of the land must be something between him and the island that's causing that. And I can actually see something there that could be a reason as to why.
He's secretly a glober.
Who? Wolfie? I don't think he's secretly a glober.
Oh, he's definitely a glober, trust me.
Oh, then he's purposely finding obstruction then. I'll prove him wrong. Well, I have proved
No, I think what Ranty's saying is there may be something physically obscuring the view, as opposed to, you know, he's found what he claims to be Earth curve obstruction on one axis only, and then attributed that obstruction to a begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking, shout out to Rory, curve calculator.
Well, if anything, I should have had a crap load of obstruction today because the tides were really bad. Really bad.
No, well, not necessarily. I mean, this is where I'm hoping Anthony might pipe up, because the amount of times he's gone out and you look at the weather above what he's viewing, 30 miles away with the Isle of Man, and it looks like you wouldn't see a thing, it's terrible, but yet you can see it. Yet you go out, and I've done this with Anthony, you go out on a crystal clear day with blue skies, and you can't.
Yeah, weather's got nothing to do with it. What you would consider to be good weather does not equate to good visibility. And equally, and no less than, what you consider to be bad weather does not equate to bad visibility. It sounds obvious to say that good weather, good visibility, but it's just not like that. In my experience, I found that average weather gives the best visibility. Poor weather tends to be poor visibility, but you can get good visibility in poor conditions. And equally, you can get fantastically great weather conditions and not even see my island at 30 miles. It's not even there. You can't see it. It's as if there's a wall of moisture between you and it. That's like looking through a swimming pool. You can't see the far wall of the swimming pool. So it's not true to say that good weather is good visibility. It can be good visibility, but it's usually average weather conditions that I get the best visibility in.
And what exactly is causing the obstruction in the first place?
That's diffraction.
The air that you're looking through, the humidity and the moisture content in the air, that brings the amount, the total depth that you can see.
Hold on, Anthony. Someone's got their mic open. We can't hardly hear you.
Really
Hold on,
sound?
Anthony. Someone's got their mic.
Yeah, you're kind of choppy right now.
Someone's got their mic open. Can you mute if you're not talking, please? I can't see the Hangout panel at the moment, so I can't tell anybody off.
I think it's Chris.
Is it me? Hang on.
Try again, Anthony. You were saying that about average conditions giving you what you consider to be the best visibility, as weird as that sounds.
The visibility is not related to good weather. So good weather doesn't mean good visibility. Bad weather doesn't mean bad visibility. What the main thing that when you look in, some days you can see 20 miles, some days you can see 25 miles, some days you can see 30 miles, some days you go back to 20 again. And that variation between how far you can actually see on the day is governed in part by the moisture content in the atmosphere itself. So the more moisture and humidity there is, that's like looking through water because you can't see far because it effectively it blurs out. For example, I saw a ferry. I knew this ferry that Ranty likes is the I can't remember what it's called, but I knew it was in the what?
Stena Line.
Yeah, the Stena Line one. Yeah, it was in the area, and I knew it was in the area because it comes up on the ship plotting GPS thing online, and I knew it was coming in the area at a certain time, and I went to go and see it from a good high vantage point to see whether I could drop my elevation and still see as much of it. And that particular day when I went up there, really glorious weather. It was hot, it was sunny, it was summer, it was beautiful, and I could only see a black silhouette on the horizon. And it was only when I went back and enhanced the levels I could see it, because in real world, when I was looking for this boat, I just couldn't see it. Now, the presumption is that you always can see dead far into the atmosphere until it goes to a point where you can no longer see it. It's too small perspective. But the reality is it's governed by how much moisture and humidity and pressure and other things like pollution as well is a factor to stop you from seeing far enough. And it was only when I played it back and I saw that there was a black silhouette that was in the background. And I was like, oh my God, it is there. I just couldn't see it because it wasn't seen far enough that particular day. It wasn't to do with the elevation I was at. It was to do with the conditions of the weather. I just couldn't see far enough. And although it was there, it looked like a ghost ship in the background. It was really surreal. So it's not true to say that, well, it's true to say that the biggest factor that influences how far you can see is like the amount of humidity in the atmosphere, the temperature that's causing the humidity, everything that goes on with the weather. But it's not true to say that good weather means good visibility, bad weather means bad visibility, because you can get it either or.
Right. Yeah. So this blockage that you're talking about that's happening because of the amount of moisture or pollution in the air, is this increased like when you're looking at stuff over water versus when you're looking at stuff over land, for example?
Well, yeah, because there's more humidity over the water, isn't there? Because the surface evaporates over water and creates that shimmering, because it's like less dense air that rises that we call heat. That's actually the density of the water changing as it's evaporating.
Shout out to Proficient Pirate for the super chat. Thank you very much indeed. Sorry to interrupt.
But basically, it's too unpredictable to predict. Some days you'll think, yeah, it's going to be a really good visibility. What we do, what I normally use as the most strong indicator of good visibility is if you go online and check the weather forecast, check the humidity rating. If the humidity is low, then visibility generally seems to be high. If the humidity rating is high, you're not going to see shit.
There's just a couple of things.
Yeah, they actually.
Sorry, just want to highlight a couple of things. Sorry, Zach, and then feel free. Remind me in a while, Anthony, to bring up the list of things that can cause obstruction, because that came up yesterday. And just before we go off track again, my warp mind, if you can just tell after Zach pipes up, can you just tell Anthony about the situation with Google and the island and its significance? But go ahead. Good times for all. Yeah,
there's charts that they have for every airport, at least here in the U.S., every airport and every seaport or marina. They're called meteorological optical range charts, and it gives a 0 through 10 on how far you can see. 0 being 50 yards or less, complete fog, can't see the hand in front of your face, to 10, I believe it goes up to 29 miles or 32. It's somewhere right around there that says that you can see. And it actually, like Anthony was saying, it's all based on not just humidity and moisture, but the wind blowing. They call that seeing. There's seeing charts as well, but they use those for astronomy. But yeah, they've got it down. Now the math that they use I was trying to put this math in with my calculator that I had made, and it's impossible. I mean, they use like every letter of the alphabet for their mathematical equation. I was like, okay, I'm not even getting into this. But they do have a chart out there, and I know it's everywhere here in the U.S. It might also be over there, I'm sure, for just how far you can see visibility-wise for your marinas, your airports, things like that, for pilots and for boat captains.
Yeah, and is this effect, this blockage effect, like a uniform kind of thing? Or does it have a limit to like where it starts and where it stops? Like, I would imagine that it's probably a little bit more concentrated, like closer to ground level. Than the higher up you go, it kind of like thins out. just like the atmosphere?
Yeah, I believe it's just more or less for takeoff for like airplanes and stuff like that. Of course, the boats are going to be at the ground level. They don't get to go up in elevation, but yeah, I believe it's just for like takeoff and landing for pilots to know like, okay, it's too dense. The visibility is so bad that I can't even try to land right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my warped mind.
Go ahead,
sorry,
Nathan.
on,
My
Chris,
bad.
sorry.
Yeah. I was just gonna ask Arwen something if he's here. If you guys don't mind, I have a real quick question I wanted to ask him.
No, go ahead. Just if my warped mind can go after, just to explain to the audience, but for the sake of this discussion, to Anthony about the situation with Google. But yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just still trying to find that spot because I had to restart my computer, so I'm just going to try and find that image on Google. Just give me a couple of minutes, and I'll get back to you.
No worries. Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect.
Let's go away.
Awesome. Yeah. So I was listening to Jose's show. I think it was like last Friday or Saturday or something. I can't remember. And Arwen was on there talking to Rumpus. And Rumpus brought up this image of these turbines. I don't know where the source of the image was or where it came from. I imagine that it was probably one of Ranty's observations. And what he did was he kind of used like a scale to look at what the actual size of the turbines were. And from that, determine, how much was being obstructed on the horizon line. And I didn't fully get, what his point was from that. And I just wanted to ask Arwen, was he trying to prove that because we know the scale or like the size of each of the turbines, we can determine how much of it we should see or how much should be obstructed? Is that the point that he was trying to make?
Seems like Alan's away from his mic, but I'll answer for him as he's away from his mic. Yes, that isn't necessarily the point of the trick, though. The point of the trick is to do, and you described it, to use the actual size. Because as you compare those wind turbines, let's assume just for this example that they're all exactly the same actual size. Well, that is what the geometric calculations, the perspective exclusive geometric calculations use. They use the actual size. So when we had Wiggles on the other day, he's trying to do the same magic trick, just to less proficiency, which is to say he holds up a Rubik's Cube right next to the lens of the camera where it takes up 50% of the frame, and then says, how big is this Rubik's Cube? Well, it's 3 centimetres. And then he holds it further away and says, it's still 3 centimetres, which is great, until I say, is it still 3 centimetres at 10,000 miles? Because in an orthographic geometric representation, i.e. how they use the maths with actual sizes, if you draw a straight line, and we had Ranty do this yesterday, and then you draw a target halfway along that line, and then another target at the end of the line, according to that calculation, it doesn't matter what scale you put in that line. You can say that the line is 10,000 miles long, and you can still draw a single straight line from observer to target and say, I can see this 3 centimetre Rubik's Cube. Now, when the reality dictates that the Rubik's Cube is actually too small to see, apparent size, angular size, then they would just curve the ground beneath it and say, no, it's only obscured because of the geometry of the Earth obscuring your view of the actual size of the Rubik's Cube. So you can't see the 3 centimetre Rubik's Cube because the ground beneath it is bent, not because it's too small to see at 10,000 miles. That would never factor into a geometric calculator. That being perspective, the angular resolution limit of your camera, the diffraction limit of the object you're looking at based on its size at its distance. So all of these things that are excluded, in fact hijacked by the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve calculator, is to call the effect of something disappearing into the distance because of its angular size reduction Earth curve. So that's the magic trick, using actual size instead of angular size or apparent size. So the Rubik's Cube looks like it's filling half the frame, half the picture. Its apparent size is enormous, half the picture, but when you put it 10,000 miles away, you can't even see it anymore. But if you bend the ground beneath it, you can say that that's caused by Earth curve, and that's exactly how the trick works. Oh, got an alarm going.
Yeah, that's me. My bad. I'm gonna
Okay.
mute. Yeah, that was a great explanation, Nathan.
Say again?
You want me to go on about that Google thing, Nathan?
Yes, please. Shout out to Colin Turner, who says, great to have Sleeping Warrior back in the panel. Smash the super chat. I agree on both counts. Thank you very much, Colin Turner. Yes, please, my warped mind. I'd love for you to, if you can explain it to Anthony, because this is quite close to Anthony's heart, and he'll understand why once you explain what's happened with Google.
Okay, so Anthony, so basically what I noticed was pretty much that video that you've seen today, you can clearly see Rottnest Island. And every single day I drive down Coast Road, you can see Rottnest Island plain as day. And, you know, if it's on a good day, good clear day, no worries, you can see it. But you can actually go onto Google Maps Street View, and they've blatantly blocked it out. The horizon has been cut and pasted with just blobs. You can just see it. I'll do a screen share now, and I'll show you what I mean.
You want to see my warp mind in the panel, just click on his box locally in the Hangout.
Okay, can you guys see my screen?
It's going out to the audience. You're all set.
Okay. So basically, here we go. Right here in the middle of the screen, you can see the island's being blocked out. Something's being cut and pasted right here. So if I zoom out, and we look straight out over here.
Oh, we've just got a beach picture at the moment, so maybe you've shared the wrong application.
Okay, can you see that?
Not sure.
No. Okay.
It's got a nice
What's
beach.
going on?
What should we be looking at?
Google Earth.
Because we've got.
Can you not see Google Earth?
No.
Huh. How about now?
Yes, I think we're set now. You've got the Hangout, but yeah, if you go to Google Earth, perfect.
Better?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Now let me see if I can find it again. Okay, so right here is where Rottnest is. Right there.
Yeah.
Where you can see something's been pasted over the top. Can you see how the horizon goes down like that? Something's been cut out there.
Oh,
So
it's where one photo ends and the other one starts.
No, wait for it.
It's the island. Here, right? That's where I was just then. The distance from there to there is only 11 miles. I was up here. I was 17 miles away. So here, you should see that plain as day. And you can. So if I go back.
But what you're saying is in real life, you can clearly see it.
Yeah, you can see it plain as all the time. It's being blocked out. Oh, look, you can see it just there on that one. Just. If I zoom out and I go down the road.
So what are you suggesting? Are you suggesting that they're hiding it because they don't want people to be aware that you can see it?
Pretty much, I reckon. Yeah. Here and there. Why would they do that?
Well, perhaps there's a logical explanation for why you can't see it. Perhaps just playing devil's advocate. Perhaps the visibility on the day when they took this picture wasn't as good as what you would normally get when you can see it, and maybe they're not hiding it. It's just a stitch between two photos.
Yeah, that would be my assumption too.
I'm not assuming. I'm just playing devil's advocate for the ball for a minute.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would have to agree that that's probably the most, reasonable thing.
Or at the very least, the excuse they'll use. But just while we're on the subject, Anthony, if you can just reminisce about the changes that were made to Google Earth while we were doing the Isle of Man stuff.
Can you still see that?
Who just said that? Can we hear who?
Oh, sorry. I'll stop. I'll let you guys go.
No, this is you're part of this conversation. We're now telling you about what our experiences were, but Anthony's probably the best to reminisce.
Well,
yeah, no, all good. I'm just trying to turn my screen share off. Have I turned it off?
You haven't, but don't worry about it.
Alright, cool.
So me and Ranty, whilst in the depths of the fighting over the Isle of Man stuff, literally one day Google Earth would show no island in the background. The next day we came to it to try and play with these figures and stuff. It was there. The island was present. And it was never present at the start, at the beginning, whilst we were attacking it. But then, for some reason, somebody somewhere must have been watching and literally put the island in. So now when you go there on Google Earth, it now matches what you can see real world. Whereas previously, it didn't. There was no island there. I don't know how it's possible they can do that, but they were able to change it within quite early on into it. It's probably like 2 weeks into it. It then became a thing. And it was like, wow, they're actually watching. Somebody somewhere is watching. But just pushing that a bit further, in the refraction argument within the Isle of Man point, I cited two of three documents that basically state two things that oppose the argument that ballers were giving us. One is the effects of refraction are negligible. They don't like that. And the other one is that light travels in straight, it deviates from straight through the atmosphere, and they don't like that either. So I challenged M. Scott Veitch, the son of the astronaut, allegedly, if he didn't like it, to go and complain and see if they'd change it or remove it. And the next day, one of them was gone. And then the following day after that, the other was gone. And I don't know how he's managed to do it, but he definitely influenced the censorship of education on the internet.
Pop yourself on mute, my warp mind, when you're not talking.
Yeah,
Ranty, have you got something you wanted to demonstrate, my friend?
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Sorry, who are you talking to, Nathan?
Ranty. He's got something on screen.
I have actually, because again, it's revisiting something that was done last year by a Glober, actually. If you remember when we were talking about the wind turbines, and we were trying to explain perspective, that things get smaller in the distance, and this is how you would expect things to look. So Slice Barkane decided to model it, and this is what he's done. So if I'm presenting and you guys can see this, this is him modeling out the wind turbines. So what are we at? 317 here. So let's go back to my image. So this is my image that we've been discussing. We've seen this quite a lot, actually, this particular set of turbines. And if I go back to 317 on this, he's modeled it out as how it would look as on a flat plane. So this is how you would expect it to see on a flat plane. So he's placed the turbines further away, each one incrementally further away. And this is the appearance that you would get. Things get smaller with distance, and it also looks like it's getting over the curve. Now, let's extend this and just keep pushing these further away and further away and further away. What's going to happen is you're going to end up with some turbines way down here, aren't you? Way down here. So let's have a look what it looks like when he puts it onto a globe perspective. So this is the globe perspective. And all he's done here is if you look at the bottoms, he's actually lowered the bottoms slightly as if they're going over a curve. But again, you can see the same appearance of things getting smaller in the distance. And look at, and let's do a side-by-side. This is a side-by-side. So basically, he's modeled them out side by side. And I have to say that this is the globe Earth model here. This is the flat Earth model on the right. And to be fair, my image looks more like this flat plane than it does globe plane. But still.
But the globe version is the geometry of Earth curve causing that which we see as perspective to go around the curve of the Earth. He will not have included the same effect on the right of perspective causing things to get smaller into the distance in the one on the left. So Anthony phrases this as a double dip. In other words, you would also have to apply what he has applied to the image on the right, which he says is perspective causing it to get smaller over a flat plane, to it going over a curve. It doesn't stop having perspective when you're going over a curve because you only apply geometry and actual size maths. But that's what they'll do. And this is what you get. This is a great example of saying, this is how they've hijacked perspective. Clearly, the image on the right of a flat plane created by a baller with perspective included is exactly what we see. because perspective's real. However, when you remove that element of life, that very real fact that you observe every single time you open your eyes or take a picture of anything ever, and just call it actual size geometry, you don't need perspective because we're just looking inside view at the actual sizes. Well, then you end up with the same result. So basically, they've hijacked perspective and called it Earth curve.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I really liked your explanation about the stuff getting smaller in the distance as well. So in this particular image, does stuff in the distance also, like, do the proportions change as well as it getting smaller? Like, do the appearance of, like, its proportions appear different in the distance as opposed to when it's closer to you? If you know what I mean?
Well,
Yes.
it should do, and it would do. However, the one thing that I would say is that there is a layer close to the perceived horizon that tends to mess around with stuff. In certain cases, it does inferior mirage. In other places, it compresses things. So what you will obviously see when these turbines on the right get nearer and nearer to the perceived horizon, you'll get a magnified effect on the compression of the actual stem of the turbine. So the actual hub of the turbine will retain its relative size. However, the compression will drag it nearer and nearer to the horizon. So yes and no.
Yeah, crazy.
So that's
happen.
why they are using curvature to explain that effect, when in actuality it's just the proportions that are slightly altered and the size that's changing due to perspective.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But this is from yesterday. If you remember, a guy came on and he was talking about this, and he was saying how the image of the turbines can only be from the curvature of the Earth. Well, Slice Barcane modelled it on a flat plane, and this is the image that we get on a flat plane. And what do you know? Things get smaller with distance. The furthest turbine away also looks nearer to the horizon, giving this appearance that things are looking like it's going over a curve, but it's not. It's just perspective.
Hi, Adam.
Afternoon, gents.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, guys. Just a quickie. I'm busy digging in the garden, enjoying it, but I had to say congratulations to Nathan first.
Oh, thank you very much. The last couple of shows have been superb and littered with congratulations for my new child. But I'm really pleased that it's the case that, you know, the congratulations for me doing what humans do is coming whilst we're doing some absolute demolition, because we are. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching that context as well, Adam, but we're slaying it at the moment, even if I do say so myself.
Ball slaying. Yeah,
Hey,
brilliant.
Guys, sorry can I jump in for a sec?
Which one?
Sorry, hang on, got my son here.
No, go ahead. Feel free.
Hey, hang on a sec. So,
Familiar sounds.
yesterday's video, yeah, I've got my son, he wants to show me his racing car he just got. Lost my train of thought. Yeah, so on yesterday's video, I was showing you where Google had taken out Rottnest Island, but now that same spot, if I'm going up and down this whole road, the images along the whole stretch of road, they've changed. They've changed since yesterday. It wasn't, if you go back on yesterday's video and have a look and then go up, what's the road called? Curtin Avenue. You'll see when it zooms out. You'll see the image is completely different. The sun's gone, it's all cloudy, and there's an extra boat there now, and you can see Rottnest all the way along. And they've done that since yesterday.
I knew it. I knew it. That's why I wanted. I'm so chuffed you're here, Anthony. That's why I made point of mentioning it. I also mentioned the M. Scott Beach thing, just so you know. But yeah, I mentioned it because I thought this will change. In the back of my, I didn't want to say it, but that's what I thought. I thought if I get in that this has changed in a different instance, you know,
they've changed it in like 24 hours though, and they've changed the whole thing.
That's what feel proud. Feel proud.
There must be an algorithm either listening or there's someone on this channel that is listening.
Mind,
that's
listen.
Crazy.
Mind, have you seen the film? You know that film with Jim Carrey in it called? Come on, guys, what's it called? The one where he's
The Truman Show.
The Truman Show, yeah. Have you seen that?
Of course, yeah.
You remember the scene where he's trying to leave the city and they deliberately put the traffic in front of him and stuff to make it impossible for him to get out? It seems that they're watching what's going on and they're deliberately putting traffic in places on purpose to stop Truman from escaping. It seems that's what they're doing to us, they're gaslighting us.
It's crazy, isn't it? I would have thought, yeah, maybe... I'm a bit flabbergasted. I don't know.
Is it because, hang on, is it because you did it on Google Earth yesterday and you've done it on Google Maps today and the difference?
No, I did it on the same thing. I just did it on the show and the live stream yesterday the way I did it on this show today, and it's changed.
As I say, I'd like to say I'm surprised, but I'm not. This has happened before. It will happen again, and just for brevity, so it's on with a number. So the show we're referring to as in yesterday, in case this goes out as the after show without a number or something at a later date. So 793 is the show that went out yesterday. So if you want to check, because we've had the images that are on Google now, and like you said, that your reaction was similar to ours. Oh, well, it's there now. And you kind of think, maybe I was mistaken the first time around. It's like, no, it's been committed to video. That's why we've...
Yeah, I'm so glad I actually showed it on yesterday's video. And now we've got a reference, so we can actually look back and you can see that.
Yeah, well, are you sure it was on 793, Nathan?
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
on the after show.
Oh, my bad. Okay, so 793, uncut and after show.
Hey, I'd laugh if it wasn't there and it's the Mandela effect.
What, my videos got erased? No, it definitely wasn't. You know, we made a point of noting where the little chunk was taken out, where the island would be. You zoomed in, you zoomed out, you had a look around. It's definitely on. We've caught it on. It's on tape. Don't worry, Ranty.
You think?
Definitely.
It's the pre-rendering effect of because we're in a holographic universe, you know.
Yeah, the island was always there. It doesn't matter what Google does in that regard. It's not rendering reality based on what Google say. Sorry.
No, I'm just joshing.
793 uncut and after show is not on the 1980 channel. It's on the other channel, isn't it?
Correct. Nathan Oakley. I might stick it up on the... It was a really good show on the after show yesterday, so I might repeat it on the main channel just because it was that good a show in the after show, like worthy of being on the main channel. So I might stick it on.
I re-listened to it today.
So did I.
I love how you said it.
Yeah, exactly.
To be able to say goodbye to everyone, and you should be clean the dishes and help you pick up the bottles.
Yeah, exactly. If I rewatch the show, in its entirety, I know it's a good show. In other words, I can't remember which particular YouTuber was talking about this, but there was someone that was saying, you know, I had this conversation with you recently, Ranty. Do you watch your own channel? Do you enjoy your own content? Because if you enjoy your own content and watch it, there's a good chance other people will also enjoy your content. If you stick your content out and go, right, let's get on with other things, in other words, you're not really keen to watch it when it's published on YouTube and get into it and be excited by your own stuff, your own content, then it's probably not that great. So don't get me wrong, there's a lot of debates that go out that, you know, they're okay and not fantastic, and I don't necessarily watch them all the way through. I might, you know, come and monitor them when they're replaying or something like that. Whereas that, like I say, yesterday's show, I watched the entirety of it again, the after show that is, because there was loads of great smashings and debunkings, mainly by Ranty. Kudos.
I'd agree with you there, mate. I'm like I said, I'm stuck on holiday and disappointed when the show ended yesterday because it was cracking, and then even better the after show. I really enjoyed that last night.
Nathan, can I just you on that after show? I don't see that in the after show on 793. I'm flicking through it now on the thumbnails, and I don't see the presentation on Google Earth.
Yeah, it's definitely there. There was only one show yesterday, so you'll find it. Don't worry, and I may trim it out and stick it on the main channel anyway.
Mr.
So.
Adam, how you doing today, Mr. Adam?
I'm not bad. Shot at you, bro.
I'm good. What's up,
I'm pretty sure all the guys would have seen it. All the guys would have seen it. And they can go on there now and see it's changed.
It's 1:44 onwards. I found it. It's only on for a couple of minutes, though.
It's enough.
Yeah. I was looking at that, Tony. Have you got... Because, like, two strikes now, and I just wondered if... These were kind of fortunate stumblings, but I wondered if a more definitive way... Because you'll have some stuff, Tony, that maybe isn't quite matching up. I wonder if we could maybe put a third one out and see if it's reacted to, because for yesterday's stuff to have been amended already is quite
impressive.
telling. Yeah, and you're more likely to have something that could contradict because the volume that you've taken, Tony. You know what I mean?
I don't know. But I know Travis has got stuff that we could test it with. We'd have to get in touch with Travis and get Travis to test it because Travis has got stuff that he's looking at permanently. Appalachia Island or something, Apache Island or something like that. We could test it with him because I know that he's really into this at the moment. So yeah, there is something we could possibly test it with.
But wouldn't you say it makes perfect sense?
Look at it like this. I mean, like YouTube, it is, and Google Maps is all Google. They'll have algorithms listening to this, and it will be all automated, and they'll change it, and it'll be written into code to say, well, if you hear this, like, you know, blah blah blah.
Oh, it sounds so familiar. That sounds so familiar. So when this happened last time, whatever it was, 12 months more ago, we were like, maybe there's an algorithm within Google that's recognizing data that's coming off the camera. Maybe they knew in advance 2 weeks before, because it just seems crazy that they'd react that soon. And that was the kind of justification we were giving ourselves last time it happened. But then you think about it and go, well, what are we doing here? We're pulling apart the globe model. What is the #1 referred to globe model in existence? Google Earth. Wouldn't you be watching if you were ripping apart that model, which we are on a daily basis? I'd be watching if they were my enemy, if I was my enemy.
That's the secondary proof, Nathan. Even though a lot of the ballers don't bother, it shows you that the controllers are at least keeping up to date with the flat Earth debate.
Yeah.
Shout out to the conspiratard elite watching.
It just goes to show that we're onto something. I mean, they wouldn't be doing it if that wasn't the case. It's all the more proof, really.
Shout out retracted.
So, guys, can I ask what you thought of my observation? Did it prove much? What do you reckon?
Yeah, of course it did. Absolutely. We knew that before you went and got it. The fact that you got it, that's why I commended you so much. It's like, forget the crappy weather. Yeah, it'd be nice if it was all nice and crystal clear and there was no haze between you and the observation. Yeah, that would be wonderful. Who cares? You got it. It's just a piece of land. You don't need to worry about the glamour of it. You know, I'm not knocking you here, Ranty, but if you know, Ranty's way past that. You know, a year ago I was saying to him, please, can you just get some more glamorous shots? Maybe swivel your camera around and take in Blackpool when you're doing them. Ranty's not interested. He's just like, yeah, I want the landmass. Glamour's not interesting.
Because what I was trying to work out was like, I can't wait for actually a Glober to come on here and debate it, because I want to see what they think about it. Because it's 24 meters, so we should really only be just seeing the top of that hill. But we're seeing the whole island. So
Nathan, let me change topics a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, just kudos. Thank you very much for sharing your observation with us, Warpmind. Absolutely superb work. Keep it up. Thank you.
That's all good. I wasn't asking for another shout out. This is my first time. I just wanted to make sure I did it properly.
A great first effort.
So, oh shit! I've just pressed the wrong button.
Still here. It's all good.
Yeah. So, no, that was okay. It was going to cast on the telly downstairs, and I didn't want it to. It's okay. So, right. When you said, "Do you watch your own channel?" What I'm going to do is shout out my own channel, because I do actually watch my own work. Because sometimes I watch it because I think it's fantastic, and other times I watch it because I think, am I wrong? And I challenge myself, and I critically analyze my own work like a lot. And I just completely disagree with these dickhead ballers. But I released a video the other day. This is what a solar eclipse should look like. If you've not seen this, go to my channel, look at it. It's only 60 seconds. I'm going to play it now. And it comes from a music video. It's in the description box from Rufus Du Sol called Eyes. So if you want to see the original video, you can find it with Rufus Du Sol Eyes. You'll find it online. Now, what this basically does is it brings full screen. What it does is it shows the eclipse and the solar eclipse, where the moon passes between the sun and the earth from the earth's perspective. Now, what I want to show you is the fact that there's a black disk, because it's being backlit by the sun. So we're seeing the moon in silhouette. But notice that there's a casting of a shadow. Now, you'll all remember, like 12 months ago, when the North Americans had their eclipse, right? Firstly, there was no black disk. And secondly, there was no casting of any shadow. There was just the absence of light. Now, we did get the crescent cutout as it passed the sun. And my view on it at the time was, wow, where's the moon? So I spent time with Chris Monk-Seeley and what's his name, Mike Helmick, and we were trying to work out whether or not the actual moon was in the picture, because it appears that this cutout part of the sun is the only part you see. So you've got to imagine that you don't see the black disk, you're only seeing the cutout from the sun. Now, if the Earth's really what we're told, we should see the sun in the moon in silhouette, but we should see the casting of the shadow as well. And it should interact like this at the moment of transition, where it starts acting a little bit daft as it passes the moment of totality. And then again, as it starts coming out the other side, you should again see the casting of a shadow, and you'll see it emerging now. And it should behave the way we're looking at it now, like this. Now, the problem is the ballers are saying, you're a moron, you're this, you're that, you're the other. So what I want to show the ballers is, well, if it is the
Hold on, can I add something before you continue? Can I add something?
Not just yet.
There should be a halo around the moon as the light is shining past it. It is part of the atmosphere, right? So
yeah, it's included in the animation.
It's just a black disc, and there's no changing of the shadows upon that supposed ball.
Yeah, that's what's shown in the animation that you just showed. That's taken from the music video, though. That was the point of the animation. When you see the shadow around in a V shape past the solid black disc that you don't see when the eclipse happens. So because there's been an interruption, sorry, Anthony.
Let me get back to it, because that did hijack my point. Really bad, because
that's what I was going to do, get you back on track. So yes, go ahead.
The point is that the ballers are saying that it's silly that we should expect to see a silhouette. But we definitely should see the casting of a shadow, because it's directly interacting with us on Earth, apparently, according to what we're told. But on Wikipedia, this is the reason why. This is evidence that supports what I'm saying, and it pisses all over the ballers, because even on the Wikipedia page for New Moon, it gives an animation of what the moon, a graphic depicting the new moon phase, which is a black disc on a blue background. So obviously, when I'm showing a black disc on a blue background and there's a sun in the picture, that's not inconsistent with your own science. Your own Wikipedia page is telling us that we should see a black disc on a blue background. So I'm just going to play this again, and I want people to see it and be aware that if we are living the way we're told, we should see a backlit moon. It should be obvious in the picture that we're looking at when we're watching an eclipse. We should see the casting of a shadow on both sides as it gets close to and passes, and then it goes the other side. And it should be an obvious interaction between the two celestial bodies that would tell everybody that it's clearly in the picture. Now, we've been talking about this for weeks in terms of the new moon phase is a bit of an issue, because nobody can see the blue moon in the sky. Yeah, that's because of Rayleigh diffraction, scattering and all that, Riley, you dumbass. Well, why is it that new moon phase on your own Wikipedia page is cited as a black disc? And when we have an animation on screen, they jump all over it. Now, I'm happy that this is basically the way it should be, roughly. I'm not saying this is exact. It's not absolutely perfect. But if the new moon page on Wikipedia shows a black disc, how is it that I can be criticized by ballers when it's supported by their own Wikipedia page? Anybody got any views?
I like the shadow. I think that's a very, very good.
To me, this is so much closer to reality than what we see. Well, at least in the model that they tell us.
This looks so real, it must be fake.
We should see the moon backlit from in front of the sun, and we should move it. We should see it move across the face. Like, how the hell is that possible if that's not what's going on?
Okay,
not just that, Chocolate, but we should also see the moon approaching the sun, like just before the eclipse actually happens, and we should see it moving away from the sun, like after, and we don't see any of that.
Hold on, I want Arwen to answer me. Sorry. So Arwen's got a term for this, which is physicality assumption bias, and I want somebody to actually clarify what we're talking about, because when we say we should see this, and people go, well, that's not what we see, though. Well, we're talking about the physicality assumption.
Yes. Physicality assumption bias. Oh, I'm echoing.
Sleeping Warrior, you're feeding back.
Oh, sorry.
The physicality assumption bias, it is a mechanism in the mind in between your observation, your actual sensories and your consciousness that handles the information to you, like a secretary. Like, okay, this is how you can handle it, so you don't have to think about it too much. Pre-works on it. And physicality assumption bias is one of these mechanisms. Is every time you see something, anything, immediately the secretary starts to work on interpreting the sight, the visual sight, physically into physical objects, and then presenting the image in that.
Yeah, but Arwen, the point is that we're told that's a physical object. That's the whole point.
I think Arwen,
It's
Arwen, are you relating?
reinforced by what is told mouth on mouth by the people, but your brain also tends to tell you at first, that's a physical object because you're seeing it. It's physical. It's
Arwen,
your instinct
Arwen.
tells you.
Arwen, are you referring? You know, I think you was on some baller show the other day, being held to ransom over colours and stuff. Is that what you're talking about? How the brain will reinterpret whatever input it is to make it logically understandable
with that question, I'm going to say, if you're watching this on Nathan Oakley channel, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow, and I will clarify exactly what I mean by physicality assumption bias, based on the fact that the heliocentric model has got these items in the sky as physical objects which would cause obstruction in a certain way. So that's what we're actually detailing, just for clarity, at the end of the show. Massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making today's debate possible, and of course a massive thank you to all of you in the live Nathan Oakley 1980 audience for tuning in, smashing the super chat, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff. But as I say, stay tuned if you are watching on Nathan Oakley channel, as there will be an after show to follow. If you want to keep up to date with the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!